one of the most common ones is like the myth of perpetual progress. So this is one where you just have faith that new technologies and human ingenuity and innovation we can always invent our way out of the mess and the problem. So, and it won't really affect our everyday lives, except in minor ways, maybe driving electric cars and having smart thermostats, but, on the topic of soil and agriculture, it could be looking at things like robot drones and AI software and genetic modified crops and stuff to solve, these problems like soil depletion. So, the underwriting assumption is that the progress of civilization will like continue fairly unimpeded despite these problems and these limits, and generally it's coming from a framework of looking just at the last 50 to 100 years of kind of like an upward trajectory in general and like technological complexity and population and all that stuff, access to resources. But then another common one of these narratives that people might start thinking about when they're confronted with like existential facts and sort of trends is more like the idea that humans are a parasite on the planet and that we're already doomed. And so we might as well just say, screw it and just party and, say, and when we're gone, just good riddance to humans because we're kind of shitty. So that's like another kind of story that sometimes people can respond with. And, it's interesting to me that both these narratives kind of relieve us from taking meaningful action ourselves. So they can kind of sometimes act as like a mechanism for denial or avoidance. And I know for some people this narrative story stuff like will click, and others it just sounds like a bunch of made up stuff. But just to give a little bit of context and zoom out, our ancestors have been telling stories for hundreds of thousands of years, a very long time, long before writing. And so what stories weren't just for entertainment, they were the way that cultural knowledge and wisdom was passed down for a very long time, way longer than writing and podcasts.
Yeah.
And so like story is a very core way that we make sense of the world, and they help orient us by explaining where we came from and where we're going and why. And the simplest story is just from point A to point B, which I think you might be familiar with.